Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for today's webinar. I'm going to give it about a minute or so for folks to join us, and then we'll start the show in just under 20 seconds. For now, if anyone who's with us today, if you go down to the bottom of your screen, bottom right-hand screen, you'll see a chat box. Go ahead and type in that chat box, your name, where you're calling from, where you're dialing in from, and anything you want us to know about you. And we'll start just after we get a couple of people in. Hi, Megan from Australia. Good to have you. Jess from Brisbane. Thanks for joining us. Cassandra from Australia. Sharon from MG Plumbing. Thanks for joining us. Will from the Gold Coast. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, they'll be nice and warm up there. Unlike us in Melbourne here. Well, I know you're nice and warm, Jen, but I'm not.
Love the different, yeah, wow. Lots of different locations here. Great. This is great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Let's as everyone's typing in, let me just get things kicked off. So welcome to today's webinar, everyone, from dispatch to done, streamline your scheduling with AroFlo. So I'm Jen. I'll be your moderator today throughout the session. Joining me today is Kieran, one of our AroFlo product experts, and she'll be introducing herself to all of you in just a second. But before we dive in, what I want to go through is just a few housekeeping items, get you guys to know, get yourself familiar with the platform and where you can type in different things. So first of all, today's webinar is going to be a little bit of a different style of a demo. We're going to walk through a day in the life of an operations manager and show you exactly how AroFlo streamlines scheduling and job management. Then we'll wrap up with a dedicated Q&A session. This will be your opportunity to ask questions, and we'll be able to answer some of those live. You don't have to wait till the end of the webinar to put in your questions. Put them in the questions box as soon as you have them, and we'll be looking at them once we get to the end. We'll also be recording today's webinar, so you'll get the replay and the links afterwards in case you want to revisit anything. And then finally, just as a special incentive, if you stick around, we'll be doing a little raffle for those of you who stay with us till the end of the webinar. We'll be emailing the person who won and notify you via email. So stick around to the end. We'll go ahead and tabulate the winners and then the people who we can select from, and then we'll let you know who's won. So hopefully that excites everyone. So let's go ahead and kick things off with a little bit of an introduction. Kieran, do you want to go ahead and start?
Absolutely. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, I'm part of the AroFlo sales team here in Melbourne. So I've been with AroFlo for almost 10 years now. I started out in the training and customer support area, and I've been in sales for the last few years.
Great, thank you. And my name is Jen, as you guys already know, and I work on the virtual event side here at AroFlo, and really just bringing experts together like Kieran together with you guys in this audience so we can talk more about the unique power of AroFlo's platform. And as I mentioned, I'll be your moderator for today, so I look forward to engaging with you guys throughout this session. Really quickly, before we get to it, I just want to go over what we're going to do. So first, we'll set the stage, give you a quick intro of AroFlo, what it's about, who we are, and then we'll dive into day in the life of an operations manager. So this will be a live scenario-based demo where Kieran will walk you through how AroFlo can help you solve things from dispatch to done. Then after that, we'll open it up to Q&A, and then we'll go on to answering some of your questions live. So before we dive in, I do want to get a little bit of a poll going. And if you look down at the bottom of your screen, so probably 2 tabs over from the chat box, you'll see a polls tab. And if you don't see the polls tab, go ahead and click on apps, and then you'll see the link for the polls tab. I'd love to get some answers so we can know who's in the room, understand what challenges you're facing, and just get a sense of who's with us today. So go ahead and answer that poll. There's only 3 questions, but whichever ones you want to answer. And it is anonymous, so don't worry about any of that. You'll be able to see a chart of who's who once we get that going. All right. Perfect, thank you. Yeah, it looks like a number of different people in the room. We have some ops managers already with us. Good. Looks like a couple of people using different platforms too in terms of some of their software. All right. So why are we here today and what exactly is AroFlo? When I think of the best way of describing AroFlo, I'd start off by saying it's a job management tool for the trades and constructions businesses. Think of it as a hub where you can handle everything from scheduling jobs to dispatching your team to tracking timesheets and even sending invoices. And for the operations manager, it's a game changer because it helps you keep an eye on where all your jobs are, where your crews are throughout the day. You can easily adjust schedules when things change. You can easily know where your field team is at, stay connected with them in the office without the usual back and forth calls. At the end of the day, it just makes things smoother, less stressful, fewer mix-ups, and jobs getting done on time. Kieran, did I get that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, AroFlow is all about tracking the jobs from start to finish. So from quoting, purchasing, as you said, timesheets and scheduling, right through to invoicing, and also just keeping that communication fluid between the office and the field at all times.
Perfect. All right, so let's get right into it with that. So for the audience here today, we're going to walk you through what a typical day might look like for an ops manager in the field service industry, the scheduling challenges, dispatch bottlenecks that you might have, and the constant need to keep up with jobs moving. And specifically for the ops managers in the room, we really want to set the stage for how AroFlo can simplify and automate some of those daily tasks for you. So, Kieran, let's start. Imagine you're starting your day off as an ops manager in a busy trade service business. Let's start with the beginning of the day. Let me set up. Let me see what your setup is for an ops manager in this particular business who's facing a familiar challenge, and that is that she needs to schedule 5 technicians across multiple jobs throughout the day. On top of that, she has to assign vehicles and equipment and make sure that everything is running smoothly. So what she really needs is a clear, simple view of who's available, where they're currently working, and what assets are needed for each job. So can you show us around and let us know what would be that solution for her?
Absolutely, definitely. So what I've got on my screen here, I've got the office interface here and my mobile phone. So that's actually a real phone. I'm holding it in my hand there, just projecting it on the screen so you guys can see it. So we'll look at that from the ops manager's point of view, but we will check over to the field side as well and get a view of what they're seeing as well. So on the job dashboard here, if we jump in, we can see all of the jobs on the board, all of our active jobs, and looking at them, by priority, status, client details. A quick glance will also show me whether these jobs have schedules on them. But really, to hit the ground running, I need to be able to see the day, a week, a month, that kind of thing. So in the calendar view here, I can then get that overview. Now, I've got my guys color coded here, and a lot of our clients will do that as well. But you don't have to. There's lots of customization you can do. And this view here, Jen, quite often our clients will have like a monitor up on the wall of the office with everyone can see, what's happening in real time. So that's a really cool thing, and particularly for clients who have that, emergency sort of reactive kind of works. So as I said, I've customized my calendars here with colors. So Shane's orange, Martin's green, and Jill's purple, and that kind of thing. So my brain can actually just hone in on the colors without having to look at all the names and so on. When you're managing large crews, I've got about 5 people on this one, but what you can do is set up different calendars for different crews and teams, regions, and so on. Some of our clients do run their scheduling around assets. So being able to have all of the asset information on the calendar, and then, perhaps assigning the crews later. So I've got this view here, which just has all my plant and equipment and vehicles, and I've color coded them as well. So I can see availability here. I can see if assets are out for servicing and that kind of thing. So your calendars can be really customized to what you need to see, on a day-to-day basis. But back to my contractors and my staff here, I can see what's happening for the day, who's here, who's available, who's away, annual leave, sick leave, all of those sorts of things can be logged in on the calendar here. The other thing here is I might have people that have different start and finish times or work part-time. So, for example, my apprentice Shane here, He may work different hours to the others with trade school and so on. So if I sort of scoot forward, what you'll see here is Shane's got a recurring block on Monday mornings. That would be where he's going to trade school and that kind of thing. So we know not to book Shane in those mornings. And also you can see there that Shane might work a bit later in the afternoon, if that's something that he wants to do. Back to my resources here, I've also got people on call. I'll zoom this up a little bit too. I know it might be a bit small. So if you have that scenario where we need to have people on call during the day or overnight, there's lots of options around managing that sort of scenario as well. When I'm scheduling my guys out, there also might be some little notes and things. So we can see here, notes can be popped in on the schedules. This sort of detail would also be inside the job, but it's really good just to bring it up front and center. And what I'll do, Jen, too, I'll just take a quick skip over to our technician in the field here. So if I just log in on here, the calendar views that we're seeing in the background there, then obviously are feeding out to the guys out on site. So that's my view there with the jobs for the day. And there's that little schedule note that I've got in there.
Amazing. And so just kind of feeding off on that, is this a way that you can look at, let's say you have multiple teams, right, working across different sites, different regions. Can you take us into that? I think you touched on it, but what would that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. And so what's happening here through the day is that our ops manager is getting real-time updates from these guys in the field. So we're seeing in here that, people are out on site, jobs are in progress, the guys are clocking in via their field app and that kind of thing. So in terms of visibility, I've got GPS tracking set up in my system and all of my jobs have geo coordinates. So what I can do here is I can say, well, where are my teams today on the map? And I'll get a geographic spread here of the jobs. So I can make sure that we're optimizing the areas that the guys are working and, minimizing travel time between jobs and so on. So this is functionality that we're using with GPS. It's probably a good time also just to mention some of the really exciting development work we're doing in the AI space as well. So we're actively investigating how AI can help with smarter scheduling and route optimization. And this is going to lead to new features that will take the guesswork out of the job calendar. So, for example, our new scheduling, with AI that the guys are working on at this time is ideally to find the best available time slots for your jobs, taking into consideration availability, job priority, duration and deadlines. And what we'd be looking at there is a much more efficient calendar, minimising gaps for our clients and maximising the team's time on the tools.
Oh, I can imagine. And that probably is just saving a ton of day in their workload, probably making information more accurate, right? For the ops manager, for the owners, for everyone on team. Just having that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
that's
exactly right.
oh,
Yeah, so
great.
it's really exciting stuff. And we're doing lots of other work in the AI space as well. So that's just one element of it for our clients, our current clients. They would have seen quite a few AI bits and pieces coming through in the last sort of, 6 to 8 months. And there's lots more coming down the pipeline. So that's just part of it, in terms of the scheduling.
Nice. Well, that's
Um,
exciting.
it's fantastic. But look back to our ops manager again. The other side of this too is the ability to do live GPS tracking with our teams through assets and devices and so on. So if I jump in here to my GPS map, that's real-time information about where my team is at the moment. And what that means is I have the confidence to make quick decisions around job allocation and resource management, particularly if things come out of the blue and we need to know where the guys are in real time.
And I'm just going to follow up to that question, just since you mentioned asset management and I saw it there on that screen. That includes vehicles, right? Vehicle tracking and knowing where all vehicles are and things like that.
That's right. So the tracking can happen straight off devices on the mobile app, but also vehicles and asset trackings too. So if you have trailers or excavators or anything like that. We have asset trackers as well. So particularly if you need to leave assets out on site, for a few days or a week, something like that. But live vehicle tracking, absolutely, we have trackers for that.
Awesome.
Mm.
So let me throw you a little curveball here, Kieran. So one of our techs just called in sick. So the job needs to get done quickly and today. How does that ops manager reassign that job ASAP and make sure the customer stays informed throughout the process?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we look at our guys here today, so let's say poor old Shane, maybe he's sick. So what I can do here with the drag and drop functionality, I can then just move Shane's jobs out. And what I do also straight away is block out Shane's day so that we all know, across the office, that Shane's not available for the day. So we can block that time out for Shane, and that way we know not to book him for anything else accidentally. The other thing I'll mention, when we're talking about things like sick leave and annual leave and that kind of thing, those timesheet entries that I'm doing there, they are actually feeding into the timesheets in the background. So it's not just about, putting a block on the calendar. It's also feeding into other data that we'll use, at the end of the week for payroll and that kind of thing.
Okay, let me
Now,
just.
if we've got somebody sick and we need to move things around, obviously that real-time map that I'm looking at there, that's going to help me to see where are all my guys, who's close by, that kind of thing. But also on the AroFlo calendar here, we have a really nifty little feature. Oh, and I'll just point out here too, Jen, I've got this column in my calendar called to be allocated. Now, I've just made that up. We have lots of clients who need somewhere to drop jobs where we say we don't know who's going to do it yet. It's going to be allocated or to be confirmed or something like that. So I know we have to do it that day, but we don't know who yet. So that's what I've done with Shane's job there. I've just thrown it into the to be allocated spot. And then what I can do here is a really nifty little feature, which is finding the nearest resource. So what this does is it looks at the job location and then it looks at my technicians and who's close by. So I'm actually seeing here, proximity wise, who I could actually allocate that job to. I can also view that on a map, which is very, very cool. And so we can see, Kieran's the closest technician. So I can then just drop that in to Kieran's calendar, being me, obviously. So some of those features are really, really cool. And the important key here is that with your jobs and, client addresses and so on, having geo coordinates behind them so you can utilize all of that functionality.
Got it. And for the customer, so let's say,
Yeah.
they're out sick, you're set, are they getting emailed? Can you deploy an SMS to them? What exactly can you do in that sense?
And that's exactly right. So what I'll do here is I'll move a few things around. We've got that drag and drop, and I'll drop this into Kieran's calendar here. Now, we can have automated notifications that go out through, scheduling and so on. In this kind of scenario where it's sort of last minute, what I might do is manually just jump in here and I could trigger an SMS to my client. So using pre-built templates and that kind of thing, the system here has already picked up who the client is and particularly the contact for this actual job and their phone number. Obviously, I'll pretend there. And I've got some pre-built templates here, so I can just jump in a template and it will pick up the client's name, the job details, schedule, date and time, that kind of thing, and I can just shoot that out to them.
Easy. That sounds great. I love the templates in there and just you don't have to recreate it each time. You have your standard, someone's out sick, this is what's happening. So that's great.
And that's exactly right. Yeah.
So just maybe kind of switching gears again a bit, and again, you touched on it a little bit earlier, but maybe if we can see it again in a larger scope, the field technician, right? So now you have a new field tech, they're getting reassigned a job. How do they see those changes and what notifications are they getting?
Absolutely. So the field tech is getting push notifications coming through. So if we look at my phone here again, I'll just bring it into the center here. I can, if I swipe down at the top here, I can see new schedules being booked in. So that push notification there is coming up, and then I can tap on that and it will actually give me a little bit of a preview of the job. And so I can see here what job I've been scheduled to through here. The other thing too, if I just close off that preview screen, there's my jobs for the day. And so that has updated in the background there to reflect what we changed as well. Now, some really cool things that you can also do with this is having some customized triggers where the technician can then say, accept the job and that sort of thing. So if I tap into that breakdown job that I just got allocated, I can then say, I've seen this job, I confirm it's all good, no problem at all. So this also gives us a little view into how it looks for the technician on the job here. If you do have field users, technicians out on site, just be aware here that I can see all the details of the job, but anything can be turned off in terms of settings, security levels and access permissions. So as a technician, I can pop in here and go, oh, yep, I've been given this job. That's no problem at all. I accept the job. And I've just made that up. So, obviously our clients will customize their own statuses here. I also have ones here like, oh, I'm waiting for parts, or the weather came down or something like that, or I couldn't get access to the site.
Yeah, well, for me, that sounds like it's just full accountability across the board. So customers are getting notified. You're letting your field tech know they've been reassigned. Maybe they can't make it, so they're saying, yep, I can't, I got this, but I cannot. Now you can assign another tech. They can confirm that they can make that. And visibility across the board. Customer knows who's coming to them since it's not their normal tech. Sounds pretty seamless to me. Sounds great.
Absolutely. And one of the things you can see here as well is I can see the contact details of the client and so on. So if there's anything that I need to chat to the client, I've got their details. I can actually call them. I don't need to come back to the office and say, oh, who do I need to talk to? What's their phone number? I've got all those details straight here on the job. So I can be communicating with the client too as appropriate.
Amazing. All right, let's talk a little bit about things that I know that are all too common in any trade service business. What about unexpected delays on site? So the whole schedule has gotten pushed back, and now the ops manager needs to adjust things quickly. How can they update the schedule real time, avoid overlaps, and keep the rest of the day on track?
Yeah, absolutely. And those delays may come in from, the office, from the field, and so on. So the field guys, the technicians can also be updating this sort of information. So if I know I've got some delays from my side, then what I can do is I can jump into the schedule. I have the access. So this is all about giving people the access if they need that to be able to then jump in and change schedules and that kind of thing. So if I tap into any of these jobs here, I have the ability to change schedules, maybe give it to somebody else. And not all of the technicians necessarily would have this sort of access. It's all about giving the permission levels to be able to do it. And if I'm moving schedules around here from the app, then of course the office view is seeing the same thing because we're working in real time here, making adjustments. So when things move around, I obviously can then just be jumping in here and moving things around to accommodate. So in terms of filling in gaps and that kind of thing as well, when I'm looking at my day and seeing that there might be some gaps, I'll also mention here that I can jump into this little overlay window and be grabbing other jobs on the fly. So this little window here gives me a view of the job dashboard where I can just drag and drop jobs out straight onto the calendar there. And of course, making adjustments and so on. This little overlay window here, we can use to see which jobs are scheduled and which are not. Jobs of a certain status, I can sort and filter in here and look at different, urgency and that kind of thing. So it's a really cool little feature to be able to fill in any other gaps for the day. So
And
when, oh, sorry.
Well, my kind of follow-up question to that, does a field tech, and maybe you're going to get into this, does a field tech also have the ability, they're out on another job, but from their GPS, it's tracked via the GPS, they can see what jobs are nearby and take on a job if they realize, hey, there's a delay on this or anything like that? Does that happen a lot? And that can be done with AroFlo on the mobile app?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So in terms of, unexpected delays, or maybe a job gets cancelled unexpectedly, that type of thing, we can be then, making up that time in real time. So for example, the technician out on field here. So if my jobs are finished for the day and I need to fill in a gap or something like that, I can tap in here and I can look for jobs by GPS or by priority or, other filters. So in here, you can see I've got these options here to grab jobs from a pick list, look for a GPS location, for jobs that are nearby to me as well. So the guys can be actually managing their own day to quite a large degree from the mobile app. AroFlo is very much, we try and make a lot of the functionality. I like to say about 95% of what you can do in AroFlo, you can do either from the mobile app or from the office. I don't have to keep dragging at my laptop to make these kind of changes. These guys can be managing their own days where that's appropriate. Also, just to mention too that, again, in terms of permission levels, and access levels, you may want to control that more and not give people the access to be able to sort of move things around. So it's very much set up in permission groups and security settings of what people are allowed to see and do when they're logged in.
Yeah, I
So
love
as
that. Love the aspect of
yeah, it's really good because
yeah.
the yeah, sorry, Jen. So the ops manager obviously, may control the day, but they also might say, well, our technicians know what their day looks like, and they need to be able to move things as well. Something else they can do, which is really cool. Here on my app here, I've got my jobs scheduled out, and I can see on the map as well where all those jobs are. So that GPS sort of functionality feeding through into the mobile app as well. So we've got that full visibility across the board. Everybody knows what's going on and can highlight if there's any issues and that kind of thing.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you for that. So here's kind of like my final question, and it kind of ties in perfectly. We're now at the end of the day, and it's time to check in, see what happened throughout the day, what went right, what went not so right, anything like that. So if our ops manager wants to quickly see which jobs were completed on time, what might have to roll over till tomorrow, and just see if there's any outstanding tasks that need attention, what would AroFlo be able to do in that sense to help them out?
Yeah, absolutely. So looking at all the jobs that I've got on today, I'll just zoom this in a little bit so you can see it. What we're getting is that real-time update of where the jobs are at. So I've got lots of color coding again, different job types and so on, where the statuses are at. So at the end of the day, I would be expecting to see statuses being updated here of this is completed and, ready to invoice, or maybe it's on hold because we've got to revisit again tomorrow and that kind of thing. Those little green blocks there on there, they are timers running. So what that's telling me is that the guys are out on site and they're clocked in and there are timers running. So what I would be expecting to see as well is that the timers are off and time is all logged in. So what I'll do here, Jen, if I just go back to yesterday, some of these jobs here, you can see and again, I'll zoom it up for you, but you can see that they're sitting in a completed status. So if I tap into one of these, we can say, yep, this job is completed and, ready for invoice. So this is a really good tool for telling our accounts team and ops managers that these jobs are actually done and they're ready to be invoiced and that kind of thing. So that's the sort of visibility that I'd be looking for, is changing of statuses and updating from that side. What I also have is I have a special view where I can actually see timesheets logged in. So if I flick over to that view there, and again, if I go back to yesterday, these views here are actually showing time logged against actual jobs. So that job there we thought was going to take, X amount of hours, how much time was actually logged against the job. So side-by-side comparisons of how we went for each of these jobs. So this is really good for looking back at productivity, planning, seeing a pattern over time to say, look, usually we schedule this job for 3 hours, but what we're seeing over the last few months or weeks is that it's taking longer or it's taking less time, that kind of thing. So having that sort of visibility, we obviously can jump into people's timesheets, we can do reporting on all of this, but having that sort of side-by-side visibility is really helpful to just get that really good visual cue of what's going on. So as the day progresses, what I would expect to see is, say, the jobs in the morning being completed, timers going off, jobs in the afternoon, timers going on, being set to in progress and that type of thing. So real-time updates again coming from the field guys as they are moving around in their day. I'm just going to switch over to here, Jen, just to look at a few different views that I have in the system. So obviously the view that I've got in here, I'm looking at, a few days here, and I've got some technicians there. I did touch on earlier about having different calendars. So having a calendar that like I've got with assets, trucks and plant and so on. But I've got lots of other views as well, different team, different crews. I've got a view here which just says crew 1, crew 2, crew 3. So we obviously understand that lots of businesses work in different ways and need to be able to customize those calendars. I also have like an overarching view which shows all of my resources here, and that way I can see where everybody is, all my assets, all in one view. So those sorts of things people can customize. The ops managers can get that really good visibility across the board. The other thing to mention too is you can see here I'm switching between views that have, a day, a week, a month, that kind of thing. So having that customization to be able to switch around to different views, judging, as we need, whether we need to look at a day or a month and so on. And so giving that control, because obviously when we're working in a team in the office, I might like a different view to you, Jen. And so we're all looking at the same view, the same calendar, but I might be looking at it one day at a time. You might be looking at a whole week. And so we've got that sort of customization that people can do so that even though we're looking at the same calendar and moving things around, I want to see it in different colors or in a different way.
That's amazing. I can just looking at that, it shows me just if a company were going from working out of spreadsheets or another tool that's not as advanced as this, I can see the upgrade of moving to AroFlo, putting it on your live dashboard, like you said, that some companies have going, and just everyone having visibility. They start text getting in the morning, start their day, look at the dashboard. They're leave, come back from the job site, look at the dashboard. The ops manager sees it all day, owners see it all day, admin sees it all day. Sounds like an overall solution for just everyone in the company.
And that's exactly right. So one of the things that, particularly for me as one of the sales crew, when we're chatting to our clients, many clients will have like a whiteboard up on the screen and that kind of thing. So, this becomes your whiteboard. This is, available anywhere. I don't have to be standing in the office to see it. It's right there. If I need to jump onto my laptop and have a look at it or jump onto my phone and check something, we don't need to be coming back to the office and updating things, in the office from there. So that's the real sort of, I guess, power of it, is that it's available anywhere.
I love it. All
Yeah.
right. Well, that kicks us off. Thank you, Kieran, for taking us through that very thorough demo of AroFlo. We can get right into the Q&A, and there's been a lot of questions coming in. So we may not have
Fantastic.
yeah, so get ready, Kieran. We may not have time for all, but if you still have time, I would say put your question in the chat. If we can't answer them live, we will be following up. We have all your questions logged, so we will be following up directly, and we can talk to you then. So let me kick things off. Let's see. I do see a question here from Will. If AroFlo with use of AI could create a summary of all the tasks, notes, and emails. Actually, I see that was answered. So I'll kind of skip that one so everyone can see that already in the chat. Maybe Kieran, let's see.
What I might do, Jen, too, if you like, just to talk about the AI just for a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and particularly for our people who are on board today who are using AroFlo, if you haven't seen this before, please jump into the product portal in AroFlo, because it's under the help menu there. Because what you'll see in here is all of the development that we're planning in lots of different areas, including AI, and what we've released recently in that space. So you'll see lots of development happening with the AI labels, bits and pieces in beta testing and so on. And we're really keen to hear about your suggestions and what you would like. So when you look at these tiles here in the portal, you have the opportunity to vote and comment and even submit your own ideas here as well. So we really want to hear what you guys would like, to see in the system here. So Jen, that question about, the AI and summarizing, notes and bits and pieces. So if you guys run through the product portal, you will see some of those sort of things popping up. AI assistance, the AI rewrite assistant, and that kind of thing. So you can tap into them and you can read more about where we're heading with all of that sort of planning.
Amazing. I love that it's all
Yeah.
there and you can easily access it all through the app. I'll ask you this question. It was for anyone in the audience who just wants to see it there on screen. It was answered on screen, but I think it's a good question to also ask you, Kieran. So is AroFlo suited for longer project-based jobs rather than quick service maintenance jobs?
Oh, 100%. So AroFlo has the project functionality where you can set up your project. Jen, we'll take a little bit of a diversion here, and I'll just jump into a quick project. So being able to set up a project where there's lots and lots of activities going on, stages, tracking all of the different elements of the project. So this is my project dashboard here. So you can see this is just a generic sort of construction. I've got my job set up into stages. I can set up Gantt charts around that in the project functionality. We can do progress claiming, track retentions, all of those elements of a large job. So absolutely, this is one of the things that sets AroFlo apart from other systems, I guess in sort of the Australian, New Zealand region. There are lots of job management systems out there which handle those very quick turnaround jobs, but no good with running large jobs. The thing about AroFlo is that you can run, we've got lots of clients who run that whole spectrum of work. So they do quick turnaround jobs, but they also do large projects, or maybe they just do projects and not the service and maintenance stuff. So we want to be able to fulfill that need and not have people having to juggle different systems because they do projects on this system and service on that system. So absolutely, if you're not an AroFlo user at the moment and you want to know about projects, come and do a demo and we'll absolutely show you how it all works.
Amazing. And yeah, I'll actually maybe lead off with one last question for you, because I do notice there's a lot of questions about different things, the quote builder and other estimating things that we really want everyone here to, if you have those questions, book a demo with us so we can go through that and also customize it for you. But one thing that you did touch on today, and I'll just kind of ask you, Kieran, and because we do have a lot of questions coming in about the calendar settings. And I think that was really interesting just to point out, like, obviously it's fully customizable. You can track whether you're tracking assets, vehicles, people. You can change the color scheme so that way you can clearly see what's what. Maybe because again, this could be something covered in anyone's customized demo, but as a kind of big picture, is that something that, you just onboarded with AroFlo, get your calendar settings up to date, like think about how you want to structure that. And then that way you can just kind of really go in AroFlo and set those settings up?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do when someone jumps on board with AroFlo, there are a lot of defaults already set up. So again, if we've got people that have recently started with AroFlo, you'll know that there is a standard calendar where it'll be sort of reasonably plain and it'll have all your team on there. But you guys can go in there and you can create as many calendars as you like, change the settings, change the colors. There's so much that you can do with these calendars. So just be aware that you have that option. I also have in my system here, I've got business units set up. So if I've got staff, teams in different regions and so on, breaking it out that way. But I also could just be doing that through the calendars. So with the calendar settings, again, if we've got some current users on the system here, just jump into the little 3 dots in the corner here, and this allows you to set up all of the colors that you want to use. Choose what you want to show in the display on the calendars. Choose what resources you want to show. You can see I've got my color coding in there. So there's lots and lots of settings in here to be able to customize how you want. Even things like how much of the day I'm showing, time from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., that sort of thing, whether I want hour blocks or 15-minute blocks. So many options in there, Jen, that people can use. We have lots and lots of help files on this as well, videos that show you these customizations. So guys, please, if you're using AroFlo, jump into the help portal and you'll see lots and lots of help tutorials about how to set up the calendars.
Amazing. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Kieran. This was super insightful. Lots of great things that you showed us about AroFlo. For everyone in the audience, we are at time. So I want, again, remind you, if you have any questions, definitely still put them in the chat because we'll be able to download that all afterwards. Or feel free to reach out to us or schedule a demo with us right away. There is a demo link that you can get. And basically, if you scan this QR code, that will take you directly to our demo site. And I'll actually share this one here so everyone can go ahead and click that if that's easier for you. But lots of great things covered today. Like I said, we'll email you all afterwards. You'll get a replay of this session, full recorded session. You'll also get just some follow-up items that will be important for you for learning about AroFlo. And then we will be announcing who the winner is of our raffle drawing. We'll be reaching out to you directly with that. So thanks again, everyone. And thank you again, Kieran, for all of this and taking us through AroFlo's journey from dispatch to done.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Happy to do it anytime.
All right. Thank you. All right. Bye, everyone.
See you guys. Thanks for jumping on.